Hello, I'm a BX Toycat and welcome back to the video. Today I'm going to be showing you outside of the map Invasion, because as soon as I started playing this map in battle mode, I got insanely curious. What are in all of those buildings you can't get to? You know, are they fully furnished? Are they not? What's going on there? And also, what's going on in the buildings down there that you can't get to? Because you can occasionally jump down and see some of the doors. I've always wondered what's inside those, and today I'll be showing you exactly what's going on. Because as I then decided to explore for myself, I found a few really useful building tips that might help some of you out if you are building your own city. Because this city is very cleverly built to be, you know, both look like a fully fledged thing, but also kind of be not at the same time. And I'll be showing you some building tips that I learned from this, as well as just showing you outside of Invasion. So hopefully you do all enjoy today's video. If you are curious, I have this map download and I can show you in survival. Thank you to Lionmin for that, by the way. And also, just in case you're curious why this doesn't look like Invasion, it's because it's currently at day. The map's actually played at night, and you could say the difference is like night and day. But with that said, I hope you do all enjoy today's video. If you do like it and let me know, because it helps out the channel and lets know that you did hate that pun. But with that said, let's get straight into it, shall we? So let's start by, I guess, talking about the, I guess showing you the things that I was most curious about, because again, you can't get down here. It starts to hurt you if you do, which means you have about 10 seconds at the end of the game where you're invulnerable to look around everything, which just isn't enough time. So what are inside all of the buildings? Well, this is kind of depressing actually, but basically nothing. Most of these buildings were never meant to be gotten to, so the fact that there's doors or even things inside is kind of amazing. And even if you go slightly further afield, certain doors actually go to nowhere, like literally nowhere. So yeah, again, because these buildings are all the way down here and not intended to be looked at, even though some of them do have like doors, so in there you can see there's like one internal door, there's no actual way to get inside that building, which is a pretty poorly designed one. But again, because no one's ever going to be down here, it's kind of fine. This building does exist, but it is just a series of rooms that connect to each other. There's no furniture, there's nothing like that, because again, they're never meant to be seen, which is one of the kind of beauties I realized as I looked through this map, because this isn't just the doors down here that all go nowhere. I did check them all, by the way. Like, most of these buildings don't even have doors, like no door over there, just glass window over there looking into, what looks like a really intriguing place, and you're like, ooh, is something going on there? Oh no, it's just, it leads to like an empty area here, isn't that? Like, this is even the most intriguingly shaped house ever, or they're all meant to be the exterior of the buildings, and here you can see it leads into another house, and so on and so forth. You can get the point. I'm probably breaking someone's heart by breaking those windows, but yeah, basically if you look around any of the, distant buildings in this map, they're all actually very cleverly designed so that they only exist as much as they need to, which is the real kind of genius I learned from looking at this, which is something I've always known. If you ever look at any of my builds, they always are, just facing one direction, so they look like they're finished when they're only half the effort, but this is kind of taking that and doing it on a massive scale to make a full city. So again, I'm just going to show you a few more buildings around the edge here, just to show that they really all are kind of illusions at the same time. And the reason for this is because most people are in this inside area right here, and they're looking at this as a background. They're not looking very intently into it. From here, for instance, you're not looking like, I wonder why there's just one giant room over there. You just see a giant office, and you're like, oh, I guess that makes sense. When you look over there, you just about see a hotel room. You're not thinking, I wonder if inside those rooms up there, there actually is, like, furniture. And if you fly up, then you can see that, oh, as it turns out, they are actually, some of them have furniture in, which is interesting, but most of them are just empty because, one, it's been destroyed, I guess you can kind of argue it that way, but two, because it's in the really far distance. So yeah, there's some clever stuff there that I want to point out, but first of all, let's talk about some of the really cool stuff that I did realize as we got to these buildings. So first of all, the way they've done these UFOs, with the beams coming out of them, I really, really do quite like. So of course, this map takes place at night, so they made the beams above them go black, but by putting a beacon going into the, UFO, and then putting a black stained glass above it, they've made it look like the beam is coming out of the UFO, and then because they've got the giant, destroyed buildings behind it, I just really like the effect this actually has. Side note, I left this map on, like, Fire Always Burns. Don't do that if you do decide to download this map, because what will happen is the whole thing just burns, and in a way that I think makes it even crazier and cooler, but in a way that the map wasn't intended to be played, by the way. But yeah, so if you look at every one of these buildings, they're really, really cleverly done, because first of all, you've got the beacon, which makes the UFO work the way it does, but then you've also got the kind of, like, the thing making it a destruction path, and it makes these things look like they're real UFOs, and again, in a way that I didn't actually pay attention to until I started flying around. I was like, oh yeah, these are really, really well done UFOs. Also, another thing I kind of liked, again, this helicopter's kind of burned, so this one over here, I think I really liked is the way they've done the kind of like the launchers for the things, because they have TNT on the side of them. They have these kind of, again, they're just helicopters be seen from the distance. Their actual detail doesn't matter too much, but there's still some tiny things that you can pick up from these, again, like such as how to do like propeller blades. I think this is probably the best example of propeller blades I've seen, and they even use the string on carpet technique themselves, something again that I really do quite like, that even though there's a lot of things that are kind of glitches in the game, again, like string and carpet doesn't really make too much sense, like how is the string holding that up? It is something that's kind of a glitch in some way, but the art team have used it to make this thing particularly cool like this. So, yeah, there's a lot of, tiny things you'll notice as we fly around here that I rather like, but I just wanted to kind of raise, look around this map as kind of the key point of, like, this is a really, really well-designed thing, because everything, the further out, okay, the closer you are to the point of reference that you want to have the screenshots from, have people play around, the more detail you need to have. So from here, for instance, you can see directly into that building. There is stuff all the way, until you stop paying attention. Like, at eye level, there's stuff over there. At that building over there, you can see they put a whole bunch of, I assume those are desks, right? Maybe they're like tables in like the weirdest restaurant ever. But you get the point. The closer you are to the actual map itself, the more detail they have. So up here, properly detailed because it's part of the map. Then you've just got bland tables, bland tables, bland tables, and eventually nothing again. Which is the really, really kind of clever way to make it so that you can put in half the work or a third of the work, but get a map which looks like it took 3 times as long. Which again, I really admire personally, because even if you've got a team of, I don't know how many people work on these maps, like let's say 5, 6, 10 people, whatever it is. If you've got teams of people working on maps, you still need to be efficient when you're working something as large as a city. Because if they just built the city and then built the map within it, you'd have to have so much detail going on around here, like, to have detail no one would ever see. Whereas if you actually focus your details on the places people are going to see, such as in this building, such as the buildings directly visible, like here, for instance, the things actually do exist, then you can actually make it so that people will see the important stuff. Whereas the background stuff, which really, most people just wouldn't build because they never get around to, you can still have some background stuff, but make it really, really one-dimensional. So, for instance, over here, you can see how there's buildings which exist only in one direction. For instance, this one over there. For instance, this building over here, as you can see, it doesn't even exist all the way. It's one direction, and it's like floating above the ground. And by doing all of this stuff together from the inside and from any direction, you can't see the edge of the map. You can see what looks to be an endlessly sprawling city, but you can see it in a way that just looks like it's kind of lovely. And again, I really did quite like this map, and I got a few tips, not only in the form of just like, oh yeah, pro tip, less detail as you go out, which is like a lot of other video games do, but there's also the tips of like, have more detail really close in. Make sure your actual map itself is amazingly detailed and amazingly like high leveled and stuff to make it feel look bigger while playing small. And then finally, the other small things are just stuff like, oh yeah, have helicopters with blades like this. Something I didn't even realize, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can totally use that. There's small stuff like the UFOs, where it's like, oh yeah, you can put that beacon through the floor, make a dark stained glass to make it look like the beacon's going downwards. Reverse beacons, essentially. Really, really cool thing, if you ask me. Just really small things they've done all over the place on this map. I've just maybe go, yeah, that is kind of nice. And in case you are looking around, you're thinking, oh yeah, I want to make my own city, then the pro tip that I gained from this is start from the ground up, work out a center, and then kind of just have the center done first, and then go for less detail from that. That's the kind of tips I picked up from here, and maybe you did too, or maybe you're just thinking, no, I could do this way better, and if you can, why not give it a try? But for now, maybe you learned something from this video, maybe you were just, shocked to see that, oh, the buildings out here don't really exist. They are just, I got myself caught on fire. The buildings out here don't really exist. They are just kind of shell buildings designed to look like they're real. And if that did interest you, let me know with a like on the video. Let me know in the comments down below if you were expecting this, or if you're like, oh, I'm actually shocked that it's just a flatland world. Again, by the way, very, very close to the corner of the world, something that always intrigues me, because, I mean, if they're doing it, it's got to have some good reason to it, right? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like it if you did like it, share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here. I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. Thank you all very much for watching. Oh, one more thing. Actually, there's a hotel just over here. As you can see, this still does exist for the most part. But yeah, hope you did enjoy the video, because I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.